Hello and welcome to this quick introduction video of the shared game timer. So in this video I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the game timer can do, but there will be a more detailed video coming later. So let's get started. Let's play a game of Barrage. Type in the name of the game and hit create timer. On this page here we can add more players to the game. If you're sitting around a table, one way that you can do it is to show people this QR code. They scan it, open up a web page that will then open up the game timer and join the game. And at that point, everyone who joins the game in this way will have a view of the timer running on their phone, and all phones are going to be kept perfectly in sync all the time. Now this does two things. First one is that it solves the problem with a game timer that runs on only one device, is that you have to pass the phone around the table, which is really annoying, especially when embarrassing notifications starts popping up. The other thing it does is that it allows for the shared game timer to be used for online gaming. It's really good at that and has a few extra features specifically designed for online gaming. But I'm gonna not do this right now. Instead, I'm gonna add a couple of hot seat players. Hot seat players are players who don't have their own device, so they're going to have to use somebody else's device to control their actions. Also a very quick and easy way of adding players. The shared game timer has three main timer modes, and I'm going to quickly show them right now. The default one is count up. So if I hit start game, you'll see the view of the shared game timer that you're going to be seeing as you're using it to play the game. Gustav is the first player, so he hits start game.
Gustav,
which starts his clock ticking up. When Gustav is done with his turn, he hits end turn,
Don,
and the turn automatically goes to the next player in turn order. You can change the turn order at any point, either by dragging and dropping like this, or hitting clockwise or counterclockwise.
Sarah,
And that's it. In this timer mode, it just counts how much time someone has taken. The total time can be shown as percentage or as the total number of seconds and minutes. Now, I want to contrast that with the countdown mode, which is much more complicated. I'm just going to show something here. In the countdown mode, everyone has a time bank that is ticking down towards zero. What happens when it hits zero is up to the playing group. And you can say that at the beginning of each player's turn, a certain amount of time is going to be added to the time bank. So I'm going to add 10 seconds to the turn at the start of each turn. And then I'm going to say save changes. I'm going to reset the game.
game reset.
And we see here that everyone has 60 seconds in the time bank. When Don hits start game, he should be getting another 10 seconds. Goes up to 70 because he started his turn.
Sarah,
And same with Sarah and so on. There is more to say about the countdown mode. It's quite powerful. There is something called a delay time, which stops the clock from running in the beginning of a turn. And the difference between that and the time added is how unused time is carried forward. If you want to read more about it, I recommend you click this little link up here, which opens up a detailed account for how that feature works. But let's have a look at the third time mode, which is sand timer. This is a much different timer mode from what we've seen before. In this mode, there is just one single sand timer, which is shared between all players. There's no turn order or anything like that. Anyone can hit start to start the sand timer. Anyone can hit stop to stop it. Anyone can hit resume to resume it.
Out of time.
And when it runs out of time, everyone can see it. And when you want to hit reset, hit reset. That's it for this timer mode. Like I said, there's no turn order or anything like that. It's quite simple, but useful for certain games. Let's go back to the simple count up mode, which I think most people are going to be using. Some games are divided into rounds. And I just want to have a show how this works a little bit quickly. Hit save changes. And now Sarah has not just the option of ending her turn, she can also pass. So if she hits pass,
Sarah pass.
she is then...
Next up, Gustav.
I'm going to be turning off the sound. It's going to be a bit chatty. Sarah is now out of the turn order for this round. So it goes between Don and Gustav until everyone has passed. And when everyone has passed, it then goes into something called end of round. And Don is the first player, so he's the one who is ready to start the next round. If we change the turn order, maybe clockwise, then Sarah is the first player, so she is about to start the round. Notice that this admin time tile is active at the bottom. That admin time tile is kind of like another timer, which is available for you to use to track time, which is part of the game, but isn't attributable to a single player. So in between rounds, it's nobody's turn, but the game is still in progress. So the admin time is automatically activated. Another way to use the admin timer is that in the middle of someone's turn, maybe there's a rule discussion, or there is an auction, or some other reason why it's not fair to count time towards Sarah in this instance, but her turn isn't over yet. If you have that scenario, you can hit start mid-turn admin, and it starts tracking time against the admin timer instead. And when Sarah is ready to resume her turn, she can hit resume turn. All right, so another thing I want to quickly mention here is that there's an undo button. So if someone accidentally presses the wrong button, they can hit undo. You can jump around in the time order. So if you want to skip straight to Don, you can hit take turn for Don, and he skips to Don. If you want to mark someone as having passed out of turn, you can hit pass round. And vice versa, if you want to undo passed, you can hit undo passed. Just a few conveniences to make, so if someone makes a mistake, you can easily fix it. All right, one more game settings, and then we can show the score sheet. Let's remove the round, and I'm going to skip token transactions. That is for when you want to track things like money and victory points using the app instead of tokens in a virtual game like Tabletopia. It can be annoying to do it using a mouse. Audible time reminders, very quickly. If you want the phone to be making noise at you after a certain amount of time, say 5 minutes, you can put in the number 5 there. And after 5 minutes, the phone is going to say 5 minutes. If you wanted to say that after 5 minutes and then every 2 minutes after that, you can put in (2). And now at minute 5, it's going to say 5 minutes. At minute 7, it's going to say 7 minutes, and so on. Enough about that. There is plenty of more settings here about things you can do, but I'm not going to be talking about that right now. Presentation mode is one thing I can show you very quickly. It gives you a full screen view of one single player, and it can be useful if you want to use remote controls. You can put this presentation mode on, put the phone away, which is easy to see now at a distance, and then use a remote control to control the game timer instead. More information about that later, but not in this video. Now, let's finish the game. Hit finish, and you get taken to the score sheet. Here, you can add some victory points. You can even add more lines. So if you want to track sheep, you can type in sheep. Or my preference is that you can add emojis, which just looks nicer. So here we're tracking victory points, sheep, and pigs. When you have put all of the information in and you want to log the game to BoardGameGeek, there's a designated button for that. And you can quickly fill in this form. Like, one of the things you might want to do is search for the game that you played, and then hit submit to BoardGameGeek, and it's going to automatically add the amount of time that the game was taken, the scores, who won, and so on. And that is it. That is all the features of the Shared Game Timer. Now, if you want to have a closer look at the features, there's a feature list here. If you're interested in online gaming, I definitely recommend having a look at the online gaming page to show features specifically for online gaming. And for pretty much everyone, I recommend having a look at the remote control to see how you can use remote controls instead of a phone if you want to avoid having too many screens around your board game table. And with that, thank you for your attention, and and happy gaming.